Hey, what is up guys? So we're going to be doing a deck profile on a really interesting deck. It's Volcanic Heroes, and it actually got top 8 at YCS Bochum, which is pretty awesome because it's totally a deck no one expected. It's kind of basically using two of the best parts of two different decks, which is of course the Volcanic engine, as well as using the Shadow Mist to bring out the Dark Law, because it's a really strong card in just any deck. Basically, if you guys have been looking at the OCG, basically everything wants to throw Dark Law into the deck because it's such a powerful turn 1 play. But anyways, if you guys are just here to net deck, I'll put a link down below in the description box. But anyways, let's go ahead and go over the deck, and then we'll kind of talk a little bit more about it afterwards. So first off, we got 3 Volcanic Shell, 1 Royal Firestorm Guards, 3 copies of Shadow Mist, 2 copies of Summoner Monk, 2 copies of Maxi, 3 Scattershot, 3 Shell, 3 Magic Planter, 3 Hero Lives, 1 Raigeki, 1 Pot of Duality, and 3 Mass Change. And for the traps, he's playing 3 copies of Mind Crush, 1 Vanity's Emptiness, 3 copies of Phoenix Chain, 3 copies of Blaze Accelerator Reload, and 2 copies of Call of the Haunted. So as an extra deck, there is 2 Anki, 3 Dark Law, 1 Anti-Luminescent Knight, 1 103, 1 101, a Castell, a Diamond Direwolf, Exciton Knight, Lavalval Chain, Daigusto Emerald, so you can kind of recycle your plays, and then a Dweller and a Gaga Cowboy. For the side deck, it's actually a pretty interesting side deck. So first off, we got 1 spell counter. We'll get into like how you can bring it out. There's more than one way. It's not just Hero Lives. Some people are like, oh my gosh, why would you even side this? But like I said, we'll get into everything. There's one other Maxi and an Effect Failure, 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, Bottomless Trap Hole, Magic Cylinder for the dirty wins, also can be a good card in time, 1 Fairy Wind, 2 non-fusion areas, and just as a heads up guys, the special summoning through Mass Change is actually treated as a special summon. It's not treated as a fusion summon, so this card does not actually hurt him at all. I remember before, like a while ago, I used to thought the same thing. I was like, why would people, or actually I was thinking about side decking it against heroes, but it's actually not too good. It's just needed to play fusion summons, so yeah, it doesn't hurt him at all. And then there's 2 copies of Light Imprisoning Mirror, 1 copy of Mistake, and 2 Shadow Imprisoning Mirror. You might be thinking, well, what the heck? Why would you play Shadow Imprisoning Mirror? You kind of need it in this build. But the thing is, guys, he is playing 3 copies of Magic Planner, so maybe he's going to be like, you know what, I'm going to stop your dark effects, and then I'm going to Magic Planner, draw some cards, and I've already negated your stuff, and then I'm going to make whatever I want to make. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit more about it, because a lot of you guys wanted me to talk about it, because it is a deck that, it's something that I would have built. Like, it's super random, and it's cool to see that there is some people still trying to innovate in the game instead of playing meta. A lot of people will criticize the guy for playing this deck, and they're like, oh my gosh, this would never work against Necros. And, I will be realistic about this. I still think Necros is overall a better deck, but it doesn't mean to say that you can't still be innovative. And I really like it when you guys try to innovate and just have more fun with the game, because I think that's where I enjoy this game a lot more, as far as the aspect of building decks rather than just playing, what the archetype or what's the hottest thing in the meta. But anyways, let's go and talk a little bit more about the deck. So like I mentioned before, this does not actually hurt him at all. Now, going back to the spell counter, because I saw a lot of people on the stream, they're like, why would you even side this card? Well, first off, it beats Necros pretty much, because they usually just don't have an out to it. Same thing with like Naturi Beast, that also gives you like almost an instant win condition against that deck. Now, with spell counter, you don't have to draw enough, because some people were, like I said, saying that you have to have Hero Lives and then you also have to have this. That's not the case. So, Call of Haunted has more utility. Not only does it, of course, get Shadow Mist, and Shadow Mist gets its effect to add back the Mass Change, because, like I said, he wants to bring out Dark Law as quickly as possible. But what really helps him out here is if you open up with a Summoner Monk, or anything that you can really just go for like a quick rank 4, and if you're able to go for Lavalval Chain, you can activate Lavalval Chain's effect, and then you send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard. That card, of course, would be Spell Canceller, and Spell Canceller can be special summoned through Call of the Haunted, so it makes it for an easy access to the card. But there's also one technical downside that Shadow Mist will have in this deck, and it's that you can't apply its secondary effect, which is that you get to add a hero monster. Maybe that's not really relevant at all for him. Obviously, he doesn't really need that, but maybe it would be kind of cool to see him teching like a Bubble Man, or even heck, a Miracle Fusion. That would be kind of a cool card. If you guys want to try out the deck, maybe try out some other cards. I think you can definitely make use of Miracle Fusion, because the Nova Master, the Elemental Hero, is still a pretty decent card, because it's got decent attack. It's almost like a free summon, because, sometimes you don't need certain cards in the grave. Obviously, you want to keep your scatter shots in the grave, and you want to re-put them back into the deck, and then that way you can re-abuse the Blaze Excel reload and burn them for extra damage. Another thing I wanted to mention, because a lot of people mentioned it, they're like, why is he not playing Ring of Destruction? I can understand why he didn't play that card, or, you know, a Solemn Warning. You're paying a lot of life points with Hero Lives, and with Ring of Destruction, both players take the damage, and unfortunately, because he's playing 3 copies of Hero Lives, because again, he wants to get out Dark Law as quickly as possible. If you guys were watching the live feed, he busted out Dark Law quite often. I mean, it's pretty relevant in Heroes to bust out Dark Law as fast as possible. Like I said, so many OCG decks just revolve around Dark Law, and then they also have other plays. So it looks like we're kind of seeing the same thing in the TCG now, where people are trying to splash Dark Law and everything. Like we do it in Shadal's, we've done it in Burning Abyss, although Burning Abyss wasn't really relevant at this tournament. They didn't even, I believe there was 0 in the top 32, but Ring of Destruction is going to cause too much damage to himself, and with the effect of Hero Lives, when you're paying half of your life points, yeah, you could be taking a bunch of damage. But I almost feel like you could just throw it in there anyways, because this card can technically never be dead. But Ring of Destruction can be a dead card. But if you open up with it relatively quick and then you burn your opponent for, you know, 1,500 points of damage, maybe you get a 1 attack with this, and then the Ring of Destruction can make a game. But if you activated 1 Hero Lives, then yeah, Ring of Destruction can be a very double-edged sword. You can actually screw yourself over with this card, but maybe that's why he decided to go with Cylinder. I mean, it's almost like the same utility, just like, oh, you summon a monster, okay, no, you lose the game. But yeah, pretty cool deck, and I like the innovation that this guy has. One thing that also was pretty interesting is that he only played 1 mistake. So many players side deck so many copies of this, heck, even main decking these cards. But Mind Crush is overall a better option, because Mind Crush can technically get you so much advantage, especially if you know that your opponent has multiple of the same cards. But Mistake is also a fantastic card, and you can sometimes, if you flip up a Mistake against Necros, they just lose anyways. But yeah, comboing a Mistake with like a Dark Law and like Vandy's, like there's a lot of just dirty combos that you can open up with in this deck. But anyways, guys, like I said, if you guys want to download the deck, the thing will be down below in the description box, so you can download it yourself. But let me know, guys, what do you think of this deck? I think it's pretty cool that he's actually trying to innovate stuff, and I like innovative decks, as I mentioned before. Really cool, and congrats, Mr. Lars Jungnier? I don't know, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. It's probably German, and as we know, Asianized slaughters every name. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Have some fun playing this deck. Let me know what you think about it, whether you'd rather play certain other cards. I personally think he could have played more copies of Duality. I know that the deck is all about Dark Law, but the thing is, if you know, obviously if you have Hero Lives, you just don't need to activate Duality, and if you happen to open up Shadow Mist and then one of these, you can just summon your Shadow Mist, Duality if you want, set this card, and then when your opponent starts their turn, or whenever they're going to add a card, you just bam, mass change. Because I feel like Duality in this deck, it's really good. And another thing I want to mention, just as a heads up, because some people are going to play this deck, and they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this deck sucks, I opened it bad. Volcanics can open up really bad. When you draw a lot of these, it can become a problem. It really can. Like if you open up 3 of these or 3 of these, but that's just part of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! If you open up, if you guys played back in the day with Plant Tengu or Tengu Plants, man, sometimes you would open up 3 Tengu and it was really bad, but sometimes you could come out of it. And remember, guys, you always have access to Dagusto or Emerald, so sometimes, you know, even if you happen to open up bad, you can just reset your stuff. Like, we didn't have access to Dagusto or Emerald back in the day in Tengu Plants, but we technically had Plot of Avarice, which was way better. There also is another card I kind of want to mention. A lot of players were talking about it. I don't know if it's out yet in the TCG, but I feel like it is a good card to mention. It's called Jar of Avarice. You target 5 cards in your graveyard, except for Jar of Avarice. You shuffle all 5 cards into the deck, then you draw 1 card. So it's kind of like resetting your play. It's technically not giving you any advantage in terms of cards, because it's a one for one. But you are kind of resetting your engine, or your setup for, you know, activating like the scatter shots all over again, or you know, you can recycle these. You do have to pay life points for this. That's probably another reason why he decided not to go for the Ring of Destruction. I highly advise you guys to play it, but that's because I like to go a little bit more all in. But yeah, you can definitely recycle some of these, and also Summoner Monk is just a really key card in the deck, especially since you can just bring out whatever you need. I do want to mention this because I saw someone doing this. They were Summoner Monking for Royal Firestorm guards, and were trying to activate its effect. Keep in mind, guys, he only gets its effect if it's normal summoned. And so, yeah, that's why you don't want to summon Monk into it, because a guy did it and he's like, wait, why can't I use my effect? Is it negated? And yeah, of course, yeah, you do have to normal summon that. So keep in mind, this is actually a really strong card. He's only playing one of because he can't really have, he just doesn't have room in his deck. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Azneyes signing out.